Have you ever been stuck in one of those conversations that feels like playing ping pong with someone who forgot their paddle? You're putting in the effort, sharing your dreams, your fears, telling them about your cat, and the person across from you is technically responding. They're saying all the right words, but something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it, the light is on, but nobody's home. On paper, it should be a perfectly normal interaction. But instead of flowing naturally, it feels like trying to draw blood from a stone, awkward, effortful, and oddly draining. Then it hits you, there's no follow-up, no flicker of real understanding, no glimmer of genuine interest. It's as if the connection you're searching for is bouncing off a void, a black hole where human warmth and authenticity should reside. It's not just silence. It's a strange kind of absence, like they're buffering but never loading. You walk away thinking, how strange. They were there, but not really. Congratulations, you may have just encountered what some would call a soulless human. Let's be clear, this isn't your average clueless coworker who forgot your name for the third time this week, or your perpetually distracted barista who couldn't spell your name if their life depended on it. No, the concept of soulless humans, or organic portals, as the conspiracy theorists label them, is an entirely separate beast. According to this mind-bending theory, these individuals aren't merely self-absorbed, distracted, or lacking emotional intelligence. They're empty vessels. Human-shaped husks, devoid of higher consciousness, creativity, empathy. In other words, they don't have a soul. Sound familiar? Of course it does. We're living in an age where emotional unavailability has practically become a lifestyle choice. But this isn't just a snotty coworker ghosting your work email, this dives into a realm far more unsettling. The lore around soulless humans suggests they exist solely to maintain the status quo, like cosmic placeholders or background characters in a video game. They blend in, mimic normal behavior, but lack depth, purpose, and any true individuality. They're here to eat, sleep, work, and die, nothing more, nothing less. Think of them as NPCs in the game of life. They follow the script, but try asking them about the meaning of life or the mystery of the universe, and you'll get nothing. A blank stare. Maybe a chuckle. Or worse, a motivational quote ripped straight from Pinterest. Live, laugh, love. Here's the unsettling part. Interacting with a soulless human can leave you feeling weirdly drained. You're carrying the emotional weight of the conversation, the connection, and even the energy in the room. It's like they're vacuuming up your vitality without giving anything back. A friend once described it to me like this: it's not that they're bad people. It's just like trying to form a bond with a mannequin. They're perfectly polite, but if the lights went out, you wouldn't be surprised to see a hollow shell. Creepy, isn't it? And in today's world, these organic portals are harder to spot than ever. The digital age has blurred the lines, giving everyone the tools to curate a personality online. The constant TikTok reels, Instagram selfies, and LinkedIn humblebrags have turned us into walking caricatures of ourselves. How do you tell the difference between someone who's just following the latest trend and someone who might genuinely have no inner life? It's no wonder conspiracy theories about soulless humans thrive. In a world of mass-produced individuality, spotting an empty vessel feels like looking for a needle in a haystack, or more accurately, trying to spot a mannequin in a sea of plastic surgery enthusiasts. So, next time you're in a meeting, or maybe scrolling through social media, ask yourself, who is truly alive here? Who's got the spark, and who's just running on autopilot? You might laugh now, but don't come crying to me when your fun, quirky new friend turns out to be the human equivalent of a store mannequin. And remember, if this theory is true, the biggest clue isn't what they say, it's what they don't say. The idea isn't new. The concept of soulless humans, or organic portals, is rooted in ancient Gnostic thought. It suggests that humanity is divided into two distinct groups: those with a divine spark capable of spiritual ascension, and others who lack that spark and are thus spiritually stagnant. For Gnostics, who were part of an early Christian sect that valued esoteric knowledge and the direct experience of the divine, this division wasn't an insult but rather a way to describe the human condition. They believed that some individuals, while functioning perfectly well in society, lacked the ability to experience a higher spiritual evolution. This concept formed a kind of cosmic caste system, with Gnostic individuals capable of transcending the material world, while others remained trapped in the cycle of mundane existence. The Gnostic view, though ancient, parallels ideas from later esoteric thinkers, such as Boris Muraviv, a 20th century scholar of the mystical traditions. Muraviv expanded on the Gnostic framework, proposing that humanity is composed of two distinct humanities, the Adamic and the pre-Adamic. The Adamic man, in his view, was capable of spiritual growth and enlightenment. He had the divine spark, an inherent potential to evolve spiritually and reach higher planes of existence. In contrast, the pre-Adamic humanity lacked this spark. They were functional, like non-playable characters, NPCs, in a video game, designed to fulfill specific roles without the capacity for higher questioning or growth. They weren't inherently bad or evil, according to Muraviv, but they were limited, existing in the world as a kind of cosmic counterbalance, keeping the universe grounded and stable. One key feature of the soulless, in both Gnostic and Muraviv's thinking, is their apparent normalcy. These individuals may appear perfectly charming, functional, and even successful. They can hold down jobs, maintain relationships, and seem well adjusted. However, if you look closer, you'll notice something unsettling. They lack the ability to truly empathize, to ask deep, existential questions, or to dream of a higher purpose. Instead, they seem to operate on autopilot, living life without the depth or awareness that characterizes those with a spiritual spark. They may never harm others, but their interactions often feel hollow, as if they're merely going through the motions. This idea resonates with elements of many religious and philosophical traditions, from the dualism in Zoroastrianism, where the world is seen as a battleground between forces of light and darkness, to the more contemporary concepts of energy vampires or people who drain emotional resources without offering genuine connection in return. In these traditions, the spiritual spark is often seen as something that allows a person to connect with a deeper truth, to question the status quo, and to engage with life on a higher plane. While the Gnostic view may seem otherworldly or abstract, it speaks to an enduring human experience, the sense that some people, while outwardly functional, seem absent or lacking somehow. Their lack of curiosity, depth, or emotional resonance can make them seem like shadows of real humans, existing in the periphery of our consciousness. The idea of the soulless human, or organic portal, is not necessarily about evil, but about a fundamental absence, a kind of spiritual flatlining that keeps these individuals anchored to the material world, never transcending to anything greater. So how do you spot one of these so-called soulless humans? Let's break it down, conspiracy style. According to the theory, there are some glaring signs that someone might not just be disconnected from their own deeper self but might be operating on a whole different level of detachment. Here are some of the red flags to look for. 1. Superficial charm. These individuals excel at small talk but falter when it comes to deeper, more meaningful conversation. They're the type who can happily chat for hours about the weather, the latest TV show, or celebrity gossip, yet when you attempt to broach something personal or philosophical, it's as if you've hit an invisible wall. Their responses come off as robotic, filled with cliché platitudes or formulaic phrases that feel hollow and disconnected. It's almost like they trigger that uncanny valley effect, appearing human but lacking a certain depth. Picture the coworker who is a master at office gossip but freezes up or defaults to a shallow remark when you discuss something like your personal values, dreams, or any topic that requires genuine emotional engagement. They go through the motions of conversation but avoid anything that demands real connection. This behavior is often associated with the organic portal theory, which suggests that such individuals are spiritually stunted or lack the inner depth to engage with life on a profound level. Source: Hack Spirit, Organic Portals. 2. Lack of empathy. A soulless person might show some emotional reactions or even mimic empathy to an extent, but to those truly paying attention, something will always feel off. Their empathy seems learned, not innate, like an actor delivering lines from a script rather than responding authentically. Imagine telling a deeply emotional story, only for them to respond with a reaction that feels rehearsed or mechanical, as if they're checking off an emotional response from a list rather than truly engaging. Can you recall meeting or speaking with someone like this? Reflect for a moment, how did it feel? Gnostics and followers of similar esoteric belief systems argue that these individuals are incapable of experiencing or understanding emotions on a profound level. Instead, they mimic what they perceive as the correct response, leaving those around them with a distinct impression that something is missing from their emotional depth. Source: Erica P02 Medium, Hack Spirit. 3. Scripted behavior. Everything a soulless human does feels pre-programmed, as though they're merely going through the motions without genuine engagement. You'll often hear them parroting quotes from motivational posters, repeating buzzwords they've absorbed from self-help books, or offering advice that sounds overly rehearsed and devoid of real substance. They rarely contribute anything original in conversations because they're too busy recycling information from external sources. It's almost as if they're performing from a script they don't fully understand or believe. For instance, how often have you heard someone drop platitudes like, "Everything happens for a reason," or "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," but it feels like they're saying it just because it's expected, not because they genuinely feel it? This is a classic sign of someone who lacks the personal insight or lived experience to form their own opinions, relying instead on borrowed wisdom from others. Source: Sufficient Velocity Forums, Hack Spirit. 4. No curiosity. A truly soulless individual doesn't ask why. They don't seek deeper understanding or challenge what's presented to them. Critical thinking is absent, they accept the world as it is without question, never wondering about the mysteries hidden beneath the surface. While most people are driven by a curiosity to understand, explore, and question, these individuals are content to coast through life, never probing beyond what's immediately in front of them. They tend to avoid or dismiss deep discussions, shrugging off topics like philosophy, personal growth, or spirituality with a glazed-over expression, preferring shallow, surface-level conversations. It's as if they've adopted the path of least resistance, always reaching for the easiest option. This lack of intellectual curiosity, a hallmark of human nature, is a key indicator that they may lack the inner spark of spiritual evolution that Gnostics argue is essential for growth. Source: Pearl Hi-Fi, Hack Spirit. Now don't jump to conclusions just yet. We've all been there, having an off day, feeling socially awkward, or just plain tired from the daily grind. Maybe you're juggling work, family, or life in general, and it's hard to be fully present in every interaction. Everyone deserves a pass every now and then. But here's the thing, if you keep getting that nagging feeling that something feels off, like you're talking to someone who's only partially there, like something's missing, it's worth paying attention to. Trust your gut. These moments could be when you're interacting with someone who's stuck in a state of perpetual buffering, only able to process the basics of social interaction. They're not evil, but something in their existence may lack the depth and consciousness that many of us take for granted. And if it's genuine depth and true human connection you're after, well, they might not be the person who can offer that. At the end of the day, the idea of soulless humans might seem far-fetched. But when you start noticing these behavioral patterns in your daily life, you can't help but wonder. I bet everyone watching this video right now has encountered someone who's given them pause, someone who left them thinking, something's not right here. So, if you're comfortable, share your experiences in the comments section below. Let's swap stories and see how many of us can relate. Okay, so here's where it gets really eerie. According to some conspiracy theorists, these so-called soulless humans aren't just random anomalies, they're allegedly part of a grand design. Theories spiral into the realm of shadowy organizations, reptilian overlords, alien entities, and even interdimensional forces. The idea is that these beings, or their proxies, use soulless humans as tools to maintain control over humanity, stifling spiritual evolution and ensuring we stay firmly grounded in material distractions. One of the darker interpretations comes from the energy siphoning theory. According to this idea, organic portals are not only spiritually empty but are designed to drain energy from those who possess the elusive divine spark. Every time you engage in superficial pursuits, binge-watching mind-numbing reality TV, endlessly scrolling social media, or consuming shallow content, you're allegedly feeding this system. The theory suggests that the modern culture of consumerism and digital distraction is no accident but a deliberate trap to keep humanity spiritually stagnant. The notion ties into Gnostic beliefs about archons, which were described as malevolent entities in ancient spiritual texts. Archons were thought to manipulate reality, feeding off human fear, ignorance, and lower emotional states to sustain their control. This overlaps with modern interpretations of soulless humans as tools of a larger cosmic game, designed to keep humanity locked in a cycle of apathy, distraction, and superficial living. Think about it. When was the last time you had a truly meaningful moment that didn't involve a screen? The conspiracy suggests these organic portals thrive in environments where deeper connections and critical thinking are replaced with passive consumption. Whether it's mindlessly scrolling TikTok or getting wrapped up in celebrity drama, some theorists argue this is exactly what they want. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? A world where even the people around us might unknowingly be part of a system meant to hold us back. We've all heard the phrase "sell your soul to the devil." But what does it really mean? And how is it different from being soulless? Picture this: a struggling musician in a smoky 1930s bar strikes a deal with a mysterious stranger. Soon, he's a virtuoso, playing to sold-out crowds. But there's a catch: his soul is no longer his own. Sounds like the stuff of legend, right? Well, that's because it is. The concept of making a deal with the devil has been around for centuries, popularized by stories like Goethe's Faust and the legends surrounding blues musician Robert Johnson. In these tales, a person bargains their soul in exchange for earthly rewards, fame, power, wealth, or even love. But here's the distinction: selling your soul is a conscious act. It implies a choice, a moral or spiritual compromise made in pursuit of personal gain. Soulless humans, on the other hand, are born without that divine spark. It's not a deal, they just never had it to begin with. In folklore, the souled soul still exists, it's just bound, trapped, or lost. The individual retains their humanity but has sacrificed their autonomy. With soulless humans, there's no soul to sacrifice. They're like pre-installed software, functional but not self-aware. Why would anyone make such a sinister trade? The reasons often boil down to desperation or ambition. Robert Johnson allegedly sold his soul to become a legendary guitarist. In Faust, the titular character craved knowledge and power. Even today, selling your soul serves as a metaphor for ethical compromises. Think corrupt politicians, corporate greed, or influencers hawking shady products for a paycheck. Interestingly, deals with the devil often reflect societal fears. In medieval Europe, they mirrored anxieties about sin and temptation. In the modern era, they symbolize the pressure to succeed at all costs. What's fascinating is how these stories always end the same way, badly. The dealmaker gets what they want but pays a far steeper price than expected. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing material gain over moral integrity. Here's where the conspiracy deepens. Some theorists suggest that selling your soul isn't just a metaphor, it's a literal process tied to secret societies, powerful elites, and shadowy deals to maintain control. According to these theories, the soulless humans we encounter may not all be born that way. Some may have traded their spark for power. Whether you see it as folklore, metaphor, or a cosmic transaction, the idea taps into something universal, the fear of losing ourselves in pursuit of something bigger. So, the next time someone seems a little too eager to climb the corporate ladder or sell you snake oil, you might just wonder, what did they trade to get there? So, what can you do if you're starting to feel like the world around you is populated by NPCs or soulless humans? First, take a deep breath. Not every awkward interaction or unengaged listener means the person is devoid of a soul. Often, people are just distracted, overworked, or caught up in the whirlwind of daily life. It's essential to remember that modern society often pushes us into patterns of superficiality and disconnection, even if we don't mean to fall into them. If you genuinely feel like humanity is slipping into autopilot, the best antidote is to live with intention. Be the person who breaks through the noise. Start small, ask thoughtful questions, genuinely listen, and respond with kindness and curiosity. Empathy can be contagious, and showing authentic interest in others can inspire them to step out of their own scripts. Think of it this way: if there's even the slightest chance that the conspiracy theories about soullessness or societal control are true, what's the last thing they would want? A society full of people waking up, engaging deeply, and questioning the world around them. Choosing to connect with purpose and meaning might not only counteract the superficiality you're noticing but could also serve as a small act of rebellion against a soulless status quo. Human connection is unpredictable. Sometimes, a person who seems like they're just phoning it in might surprise you. Next time you're stuck in a shallow conversation at a party or in the workplace, try cracking a thoughtful joke or sharing something a little deeper. If they respond with genuine laughter or a spark of interest, maybe you've just uncovered a bit of their humanity. Ultimately, the world becomes what we put into it. If you want less autopilot and more soul, start by bringing yours to the table. It's a challenge, sure, but it might just be the spark that lights up a little corner of the world. Who knows? Maybe those NPCs were just waiting for someone to press start. So, where does this leave us? We've delved into soulless humans, the chilling legends of selling your soul, and the conspiracy theories that swirl around both. Along the way, we've questioned the very essence of humanity. What makes us? Imagine walking through your day, passing coworkers, strangers on the street, or even loved ones, wondering who among them might be an empty vessel. It's a disquieting thought, isn't it? The idea that some people, despite their polished exteriors, lack the soul or spark that drives creativity, empathy, or true connection. But maybe the point isn't to fear the soulless. Perhaps it's to ensure we don't become one of them. Whether you view soullessness as a spiritual void, a psychological metaphor, or a conspiracy theory, it serves as a reminder of what truly matters. In a world driven by materialism, social media clout, and endless hustle culture, it's easy to lose sight of what gives life meaning, authenticity, compassion, and a sense of purpose. Even if you believe the soulless walk among us, the question becomes, how do we respond? Do we let cynicism take over, or do we lean into what makes us human, choosing connection, creativity, and kindness? Ultimately, this isn't just a spooky campfire tale. It's a call to reflect on our own humanity. How often do we go through the motions, acting without thinking, reacting without feeling? It's not just about spotting soullessness in others, it's about ensuring we don't fall into the same trap. So, the next time you encounter someone who seems like they're running on autopilot, or you find yourself getting swept up in the grind of modern life, ask yourself, am I living as a full vessel, or am I at risk of becoming empty? And as for the soulless, are they real? Are they a myth? Or are they a mirror, reflecting our deepest fears about losing what makes us human? That's for you to decide. But one thing is clear, in the quest to understand the rise of soulless humans, the answer might not lie out there. It might be closer than you think,